What's up? How's everybody doing? Um, Figured I'd go live tonight and share my Draftkings plays that I love for fantasy football week 7 tomorrow, Sunday. So if anybody wants to hop in and ask any questions, if not, I'll start going through my list of who I love, who I don't love, the cheap plays I loved for tomorrow on Draftkings. This is Draftkings, but if you want to ask a question about FanDuel, I can help you with that. I can help you with daily fantasy too. All right, so like I said, I'll be mainly covering DraftKings. I can also hop on to help out with any FanDuel questions. I've been doing daily fantasy for about 5 years now, so I feel like I'm knowledgeable. I feel like I could provide some help at least for you. All right, I'm going to get this started with my favorite plays on DK, DraftKings. So we'll start at the quarterback position. Sorry, I'm trying to get my tabs up here. Start at the quarterback position. As far as the expensive guys, I really like Lamar Jackson. He's 7.6K for tomorrow. But with him, you could run him naked. You don't have to really pair him with anybody. But if you do, I guess you could pair him with Flowers. You could pair him with Mark Andrews. Mark Andrews has a really good matchup. So I think, like I said, you could either run Lamar Jackson naked or play him with one of his weapons. I mean, he likes to spread the ball around. That's the thing with him. And he could run for 2 touchdowns. So if you play him naked, you might be fine. I like Mahomes to a point. I know he's playing the Chargers. On paper, that's a shootout, but there's been a couple games the past couple weeks that look like shootouts, and they weren't shootouts. So that game could go either way. The problem with Mahomes, unless you're playing him with Kelsey, like you don't know who he's going to throw to. You don't know which receiver is going to go off. It's just a really hard. It's really hard to stack him with somebody, I should say. At least that wide receiver. You could always go to Kelsey, but that's a really expensive stack. Josh Allen, I'm kind of iffy on because New England is still New England. Belichick knows Josh Allen's game. That could be a really tough matchup. Plus, I guess you could pair him with Gabriel Davis to go a little cheaper. But I just don't trust Allen. He's got, I think he's got a shoulder issue that he's playing through. Yeah, his right shoulder. So his throwing shoulder is still hurting. He's not 100%. He's going to play, but you never know. What if he gets hit in the shoulder and he's out for the rest of the game right in the first quarter? Then you're screwed. So I'll go for my cheaper quarterbacks now. I really, really really love Jordan Love. He's got a good matchup against Denver. Denver's defense, we've seen it in the past. How many weeks? They're awful. He's looked pretty good for the most part. He's averaging 19.2 fantasy points on DraftKings for 5.8K. And you could pair him with Watson, his favorite receiver. I guess you could pair him with the tight end too. I always forget the tight end's name. Musgrave. You could pair him with Musgrave if you want. You could probably do a Musgrave and Watson pair. But I really like him. And like I said, great matchup. They're on the road in Denver, but that really hasn't been a factor this year. Denver just, like I said, they just look bad home or on the road. I love Deshaun Watson. I was waiting to see if he would play, but they're pretty much saying he's playing. So I think he's still questionable, but everything I read, he's going to play. So pairing him with Cooper, great fucking pairing right there. Those two. So I know Watson's 5.7. Cooper, I believe, is 6.1K. So you're looking at like an average of 5.9K just to get both those guys in there. That's pretty good. I think you could work both of them. Another cheap guy. This is a weird week. I don't like the expensive guys. There's not really a lot of in-between guys, but I love like the mid to high 5s and a low 5 too. But Howell's sitting there at 5.5K. You could pair him with Samuel, who's been fucking doing work the past 2 weeks. He's been targeting a lot of yards after catch. You could also pair him with McLaurin. McLaurin's only 5.4K. Samuel's 4K. Both really good stacks there. Giants have been middle of the road against the pass, so I think he could do some damage. I mean, they throw it a lot too. This is my quarterback play of the week. He's probably There's only like 3 or 4 guys cheaper than him, and that's Desmond Ritter from the Falcons. He's been playing really well the past 2 weeks, throwing a lot of attempts. He's been hooking up with Drake London a lot. Drake London's only 5.1K. I like Pitts to stack with him. So you could do a 3-player stack. You could do Ritter, Pitts at tight end, and you could do Drake London at wide receiver, and that's really cheap. All low 5, or Drake and Ritter are low 5s, and Pitts is only 4K. They've been throwing to him a lot. They're getting a lot more involved in the game now. So I think that's it for my quarterbacks for now. So we're going to go on to the running backs. Running backs, it's another week where you got some good high-end guys, and then you got some really good cheap guys. So as far as high-end goes, I'm going to be playing a lot of Barkley for the Giants. It's a good matchup. They ran him 24 carries last week. Expect the same this week. Over 20, I would expect, unless the game gets out of hand. Daniel Jones isn't in, so they're going to be checking off to him a lot. Probably a lot of dump-off passes, so he should get his receptions too on top of the carries. Love Josh Jacobs, another game where there's going to be a backup. They're going to be handing off a lot to Josh Jacobs. I would say 16 to 25 range for carries for him. Chicago doesn't have Fields, so that game's going to be really close. It's probably going to be a grinded-out running game. Then we got Bijan Robinson. I like him. I have him in a few stacks. I'm not huge on him, but I do like him. He always seems to be priced too high. He's 7.3K this week. I think he's like the 4th highest running back on the slate. But now we're going to get to Kenneth Walker III. Fucking love this guy. Love this guy so much. I think he's in a great position. Arizona's 30th against the run in fantasy. Another guy that could get 20-plus carries, depending on the game plan. So, yeah, Kenneth Walker, I love. I have him in probably 75% of my lines, if not more. He's just a beast. He's been killing it lately, too. Then we go to, middle of the road here. The middle of the road guys I like Gibbs from the Lions, because Montgomery has already been they've already said he's out for the game. Their 3rd-string running back is questionable. So I like Gibbs a lot. I think he should get, I want to say 20 touches at least. They'll probably use him in the pass game a little bit, probably 12 to 15 carries. And I think he could actually do decent. I know Baltimore's a tough matchup, but they're tougher against the pass than they are the run. Love Pacheco, Isaiah Pacheco from the Chiefs. Talked a little bit about this game. It could go either way. It might be a shootout. It might not be a shootout. But Pacheco's been getting a lot of carries recently. 16, 16, 20, and 15 the last 4 games. That's how many carries he's been getting. So he's averaging about 16 to 17 carries a game, which for him is pretty good because Mahomes isn't known to hand it off a lot. So he trusts him. After that, though, it's a shit show. I'll give you another cheap guy. I like Jerome Ford for the Browns, especially since Watson's playing now. He could get a lot of goal line work against Indianapolis. So I like him for cheap. I have him in a few lines. Sorry if I'm looking down. I'm looking at my phone to try to look at my plays so far. If I do it on my computer, it's just going to take longer. Love Deonta Foreman. He got 15 carries last week. Khalil Herbert was out. Their other dude, let me see the other dude's name. Sorry, a lot of these Chicago guys are no-name dudes. So Herbert was out last week. Rashawn Johnson was out last week. They're both out again this week, so Foreman's a good play. He'll be getting lots of carries. Should be a close game because it's both backup quarterbacks playing. So that should be a really close game. I think that is it for running back that I'm playing. I'll go over a couple guys that I don't think are worth the money. I don't think Jonathan Taylor's worth 6.5K. Yeah, he could have an old school game, but Zach Moss has been playing really well. I think they're still going to split carries, at least in my mind. And I think Cleveland goes up early, and Indianapolis just abandons the run game. That's just my opinion. I don't mind Brian Robinson. Problem with him, his yards per carry has been terrible recently. But he's playing the Giants. They have this. They're 26th against the run in fantasy, so he kind of has a good matchup. I mean, it's kind of hard just to fade him. You could play a little bit of him, I think. But after that, man, it's just ugly, 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 ugly. You could look at the Rams game. There's a lot of cheap running backs, but you don't know who's going to be playing. Like, you don't know like the how the touches are going to be handled. I heard they just activated who was their running back from last year? I can't think of his name, but they activated another running back. So they have like 4 running backs activated, and they're all middle of the not even middle of the road. They're all like practice squad guys. So I'm not trusting that. Same with Arizona. I'm not trusting Arizona's running backs. Yeah, they're cheap. You could put them in there and get some expensive guys to fit, but I'm just not trusting them enough. There's a lot of crap at running back this week. All right, wide receivers. I really like wide receivers this week. I had fun mixing and matching with them. There's a couple expensive guys I'm going to fade. I'm probably going to fade Devontae Adams because Brian Hoyer's quarterback. That doesn't really help his fantasy value at all. I'm fading. I hate saying this guy's name. Puka Nukaka. I don't know how the fuck you say it. The Rams' second wide receiver. I just think Cooper Kupp just gets all the love when he's healthy and Stafford loves him so much. St. Brown's a little iffy. He's got a tough matchup. He's 8K. I don't completely trust him. I'll probably have him in 1 or 2 tops. Love Kupp. I already talked about him. He's so expensive, but he's worth it. I think he's just going to go off. Pittsburgh pass defense is not good at all. They're better against the run. I love Diggs. Diggs could go off again. He's been insane this year. Really turned the corner. Like he's turned into an elite wide receiver now. Keenan Allen. Chiefs have been really good against the against wide receivers this year. Against the pass in general, like surprisingly good. But he's still going to get like probably 10 to 15 targets just because Mike Williams is out. I like Mike Evans a lot. On paper, it's a tougher matchup, but he usually kills Atlanta. Like he's usually like Mike Evans is Atlanta's kryptonite. Like he just usually dominates against him. So I'm going to trust him this week to a point. DK Metcalf probably. Well, let me look now. I think he's a game time decision. So that's a tough one. Lockett's a good play because of that. Pivot to Lockett if you have to. He's only 6K. He's actually been playing better than Metcalf as far as getting targets and making those targets count. I'm full fading DJ Moore. I love him. He's been great. He's got a tough matchup. He's playing with a backup quarterback. I think it's a rookie. It's either a rookie or second-year guy, and I don't trust him. Cooper, I went over Cooper. I love pairing him with Watson this week, even if you don't pair him with Watson. He's a good price, 6.1K. Still gets a lot of targets. I mean, the Cleveland receiver is really mediocre other than him. Njoku is mediocre this year. Couple interesting guys. I like Watson a lot. It's a good matchup against Denver. He's the most targeted out of the Packers receivers since he returned 2 weeks ago. And like I said, I like to pair him with Love this week because I think Love is going to go off. 20-plus points for Love. We got your normal guys here. I was thinking about going Pickens, but he's got a tough matchup. Plus, their other receiver came back this week. I'm trying to think of his name now. Blanking out. Deontay Johnson came back this week. He gets a lot of targets usually, so I think that's going to hurt Pickens unless he has a couple big plays or a touchdown. I don't see him doing much. Marquise Brown, love his price. Seattle is 32nd against wide receivers in fantasy in Draftkings, so target him. I mean, get him in your lineup. He's cheap, 5.3K. He's been killing it too. He's had a couple over 16 games, 4 over 16-point games. He's getting targeted like crazy, double-digit targets most weeks. I think that game could actually end up being a shootout, depending, I guess, if Metcalf plays or not. I do not like Denver's receivers this week. I just don't trust them. Green Bay has a decent secondary. And their Denver's receivers are so unpredictable and inconsistent. Oh, now we're going to get down to the Kansas City receivers. I guess their best guy is Rashee Rice as far as targets and doing something with the targets goes. I mean, you could pair him with Mahomes. I don't have Mahomes in a line yet. I mean, I may regret it. I'm probably still going to put him in a lineup. We'll see. Now the cheap guys. There's a decent amount of cheap guys here. I think Reynolds is an option from Detroit for only 4.3K. Kendrick Bourne is an option again. Had a hell of a week last week. Lots of targets. Samuel, love Curtis Samuel. Pairing him with Howell to Samuel. So he's only 4K. This is his last 3 weeks on DraftKings. 14.2 points, 18.5, and 18.2 points. Like he's been on fire for his price, I should say. Then you got this one, Wan'Dale Robinson from the Giants. Giants really have nobody at wide receiver, but he's been somebody recently. He's been targeted a lot. It seems like Tyrod Taylor, he targeted the shit out of him last week. Redskins, they were supposed to be good on defense this year. They're not at all. They've been a letdown. So Wan'Dale Robinson for 3.8K, you could fit Diggs in there. If you play Wan'Dale Robinson, you could fit Diggs in there, no problem, and still have a lot of cash left. He's a really good cheap play. I guess you could go Slayton too if you have big old balls, because my balls aren't that big. I'm not trusting Slayton. He's too unpredictable. I don't know. I've trusted him before and he let me down. I don't think there's any other cheap guys that I want to talk about at wide receiver. Let me just check. I don't think there's even any comments yet. Bear with me a second. All right. We'll move on to tight ends, I guess. Tight ends, it's another week where it's I'm going to fade Waller probably completely. I don't want to pay 5K for him. Laporta has a really tough Baltimore is the best against tight ends in fantasy, so I'm not playing him. I love Andrews. It's crazy how Kelsey is 8K. The next expensive guy is Andrews at 5.7. Just play Andrews, honestly. I know Kelsey's a beast. You can still play him, but 8K is just, I don't know. I don't like to spend a lot on tight end. I'd rather save 2,300 and get Andrews all day. Kmet at 4.2 with the backup rookie quarterback. He'll probably get a lot of dump offs. I actually like him for 4.2K. Henry is questionable from the Patriots. He's 4.1K. He's been terrible recently. The last 4 weeks, he hasn't done much at all. It's because his quarterback sucks. Mac Jones is nobody trusts that man. I don't even think he trusts himself. We got Kyle Pitts, 4K. Love pairing him with his quarterback there in Atlanta. He could go off again. They've been targeting him a lot. He's playing like he should have been playing. 6 targets last week, 43 yards and a touchdown. The week before that, 11 targets, 87 yards on 7 catches. He's been killing it recently. The past 2 weeks, they're actually using him. Speaking of Falcons tight ends, you could go Jonnu Smith. He's 3.6. He's 400 cheaper than Pitts. I think he's a good play too, because Atlanta likes to do those like short passes. They love it. Lance Thomas for the Redskins, kind of like him. I'll have some of him. For his price, he could get you a touchdown, maybe 40, 50 yards. Ertz, I trusted Ertz the first 4 weeks. Not so much anymore. He's not getting targeted really. I think he's beat up. He's getting up there in age as far as tight ends go. I don't know. He'll get you 3 catches, 20 yards anymore. That's about it. I don't think they're really using him in red zone either. So I'm kind of fading him. Other than him, I do like Gesicki. I like Mike Gesicki for the Patriots because like we talked about, Hunter Henry might sit. So for 2,600, he seems like a good play. So that's pretty much it for tight ends. Normally I like Parham. I normally like Donald Parham Jr. from Chargers, but I don't know. I think that Kansas City defense is for real. Like they're stingy this year. They're not giving up a lot of yards, not a lot of points either. Now we'll move on to defense. There was something else I wanted to say. Oh, okay. A couple more wide receivers I want to fade. I think I missed a couple that I want to play too. I'm targeting Jacoby Myers just because he's been a beast. He's actually outplaying Adams recently. I think Hoyer might check it down to him a lot. I don't know. We'll see. I like Zay Flowers against Detroit. I feel like he's for 5.7K. He's been, let's see, 17.1 points last week, 6 catches, a touchdown, 8 targets, 50 yards. He could be a good play. But like I said, you never know what Lamar. He might just run it 20 times. Oh, I missed a guy. Drake London. I don't think I talked about him completely, but 5.1K, I'm going to have like 90% of this man. Because the risk to reward is just, you can't fade him at all. He's been doing really good recently. Him and his quarterback have a nice connection recently. That's probably it for wide receivers. We did tight end. All right, we'll talk defense. The Bills are the most expensive at 4.2K, but they're worth playing. New England's a shit show on offense. Mac Jones is like throwing 2 picks a game. He just doesn't give a fuck. You could go see. Normally, I would like Buccaneers defense, but Atlanta's been playing good, and they control the clock, so they waste a lot of time. My favorite probably matchup on defense is Cleveland because they're going against Minshew. I don't think Minshew's good, even as an Eagles fan. I don't think he's that good. Like he's okay. He's a game manager, but I think Browns could get a few turnovers there, honestly. And I think they're going to be down early and doing dumb throws. I know I said I like Marquise Brown from the Cardinals, but you can still play the Seahawks defense. They've been pretty good this year, honestly. Same with Steelers defense. They've been pretty good. They have 17 sacks, the Steelers defense. They have 5 interceptions. And they have 6 fumbles recovered. Like, that's really good. Stafford is known to make some dumb throws throughout his career, so he might chuck it up a couple times and get picked off. Maybe even throw a pick 6. Never know. I do like Baltimore's defense this week. Baltimore's a really good home team. I feel like that crowd could get crazy. We might see old Goff, careless Goff, throw a couple interceptions. And their defense has been really good this year at Baltimore. There's nobody else. I think you could actually play the Chiefs at 2.4K. Like I said, they've been playing really well. Let's look at their stats. They have 17 sacks too, just like Pittsburgh. They have 6 fumbles recovered and 3 interceptions. And 80. So they're giving up like 14 points a game, which isn't bad at all for the Chiefs defense. Usually they don't have a good defense at all, but this year they're playing solid. While I'm on, I might as well look at some FanDuel because I still have to set my FanDuel lineups. So I'll go into the FanDuel here. So just to recap on Draftkings, I really love Kenneth Walker III at running back. I have a ton of him. I have a ton of Josh Jacobs for 7.4K on Draftkings. Quarterback, like I said, I'm going with let me get this app open here. Pardon me, I need a drink. All right. far as quarterbacks on DraftKings, like I told you, I love the cheaper guys. I love Howell. From the Redskins, I love Ritter. Ritter is my quarterback of the week, and he's so cheap. He's pretty cheap on FanDuel. All right, so I'm going to go through FanDuel. This is off the cuff because I haven't even looked at it yet, but I'm looking now as I talk to you live. God. Like I said, the same thing here. The expensive guys, I like Jackson. That's about it. Mahomes is okay. I just think that game is actually going to underwhelm as far as fantasy. Like, I think Mahomes could do good, but for his price, I don't want to pay 9 something on FanDuel when I could get Jackson for 8. I could get Love for 7.8. Like I said before, I love this week. He should decimate Denver. Everybody's decimated Denver this year. Watson at 7.5K. I like him, even with the shoulder. Sam Howell, I love him. I love pairing him with Samuel. I'm not sure Samuel's price on FanDuel, but we'll look it up. Ritter at 6.9K. Oh, my God. Ritter is cheaper than Geno Smith. He's cheaper than Russell Wilson. He's cheaper than Goff, and I think he's going to do better than Goff this week. He costs more than Stafford. That's kind of weird. I like Stafford on FanDuel. 6.7K is pretty cheap for FanDuel standards. Like right under Stafford is Dobbs for under 100 less. So I would take Stafford over Dobbs any day there. That's it for quarterbacks. Herbert, 8.3K against a tough Kansas City defense in a division game. I don't know about that one. I feel like that's a trap. I like Keenan Allen, but I don't really like Herbert completely. Yeah. So my favorites for FanDuel, it's going to go just about the same as DK. Lamar Jackson, Jordan Love, Deshaun Watson, Sam Howell, and Desmond Ritter. So that goes for. Actually, I'm going to build a lineup live with you here. I wish I could show it on my screen. I don't know if I could, though. I don't think I could. Anyways, so we'll do it on my phone. So as far as quarterback, I'm building my millionaire FanDuel lineup here. I'm going to go Ritter, 6.9K, Falcons quarterback. I'm going to go – let me switch this to – I'm going to go with London, Drake London. He's 6.9 too, the same as Ritter. So there, you do that. We pick a defense. I'm going to go cheap defense. Well, let's see what's cheap on FanDuel. The cheapest Bears defense is so bad, even against a backup. So we're gonna go with I'm gonna go with the Steelers defense for 4.2K against the Rams. Like I said, they've been creating turnovers, getting lots of sacks. They've been on fire defensively, especially in fantasy. All right, so this is how I normally build. I'll do my defense first usually. Then I'll go quarterback and pair him with somebody. So, for instance, this lineup I'm doing Desmond Ritter and I'm pairing him with Drake London, really cheap. And then I pick my tight ends because usually I go cheap. FanDuel cheap. I'm liking Njoku's down there in price. Ooh. I'm gonna go Kyle Pitts just because I really trust him this week. 5.6K. So I'm doing a 3 Falcon stack. I could run it back probably with Mike Evans. Let's see if I can fit him in here nice. Mike Evans, 7.6. Like I said at the start of the show, Mike Evans is a fucking Falcons killer. So I'm going to bring him on the bring back there. So we got Ritter, London, Mike Evans, and then we got Kyle Pitts. And our defense is the Steelers. Now I'm gonna choose running back here. Right now I have 7.2K open per position. Per position. I need some more water. 7.2K I could average now. I'm seeing Jacobs there at 8K. Lock. Walker at 8.8. Ooh, he's a little expensive on here. I'm gonna go Pacheco. Oh, I don't know. Pacheco's 100 cheaper. I want to go Robinson, but I already have 3 Falcons. I'm not doing quadruple stack here. Ooh, this is tough. I could go Barkley. I do love Barkley this week. Anyway, all right, I'm gonna fit Deonta Foreman in there. He's only 6.3K. So now I've got 7.2 left for a wide receiver and a flex. Oh, let's see if I can get my wide receiver here. I don't want. Where is he? Where is he? Where is he? Lockett, 6.8. Or I could go Cooper. That's a tough one. They have Godwin so cheap, 6.5. That could be. He's way more expensive on DK as far as average salary goes. That's crazy. He's only a Chris Godwin's only 100 more than Samuel. That is insane. All right. So this is a tough one here, but I'm gonna go with Lockett, 6.8K. Now I got 7.7 for the flex. Oh, it keeps coming back to Robinson, but I don't want to play him in the stack. I'm gonna try to make room for Barkley. That's what I'm gonna do. So right now I had Barkley in the flex. I'm gonna go cheaper. Pardon me. I'm gonna go cheaper at tight end. Oh, I didn't want to do this. I'm gonna go Njoku. Yeah, Njoku at tight end. I now have 100 left. I'm actually loving this lineup though. Let's see if I can get better at any position here. Okay. I'm gonna lock this in. Doop. I really like this line, so I'll go through it. What I just built. All right. So what I just built, I got Desmond Ridder, the Falcons quarterback, 6.9K. I have him paired with Drake London at 6.9K, his wide receiver. I have Josh Jacobs as my running back, 1. I have Deonta Foreman, really cheap, 6.3K as my number 2 running back. I had the bring back of Mike Evans against Atlanta because he always kills Atlanta for some reason. Always kills them. Always has their number. I have him at 7.6K for the bring back because I love that Atlanta Tampa Bay game. Then I got Lockett at 6.8K. Metcalf is a game time decision, so I think Lockett either way is going to get a lot of usage. Then I got Njoku at tight end for only 4.9K, which is really cheap on FanDuel. Then I got Saquon Barkley at 8.3K. He should dominate. He had 24 carries last week. I think he's going to have the same and some dump offs from pardon me. I can't think of who's the Giants quarterback tomorrow. I know Jones is out. I got to just separate it by game. Sorry about this. Oh, Tyrod Taylor. So Tyrod Taylor might dump it off a bunch to Barkley. And then I got the Steelers defense. Yeah, it's the Rams. I know Cooper Kupp is back. He's been dangerous, but Pittsburgh just forces turnovers. They got a really good defense. They get to the quarterback. Stafford's not as mobile as he used to be. I think Steelers 4.2K. That's a good play. So now I just built the line. So now we'll just go through guys I don't like and more guys I like. So we did quarterback for FanDuel. Now we're gonna go running back. Love Kenneth Walker. He's a little pricey on FanDuel, a lot pricier on FanDuel than he is on Draftkings. He's 8.8K. I still love him though. I just won't play as much of him on Draftkings. Love Bijan Robinson. He's 7.5K. Pacheco from the Chiefs, 7.4K. That's a great matchup. I think Chiefs are going to be up too. So they're going to run it a lot at the end in the second half. I'm fading Zach Moss and Taylor from the Colts because I think they're going to get blown the fuck out. I don't trust them. I don't trust the distribution between them two. I don't mind Brian Robinson. Got a good or middle of the road matchup. I think that game's going to be actually he has a good matchup, 27th against the run. Brian Robinson, I think, is a good play. He's not great, but he's good. I think that's going to be a low-scoring, grounded-out game. He could get a touchdown, maybe 60, 70 yards. Then we're going to the cheaper guys. Jerome Ford, 6.6K. I was hoping he would be a little cheaper. I love Foreman at 6.3K. I love Gibbs from Detroit at 6.2. No Montgomery. He should get the touches. Man, other than that, Denver's running backs, they have like a three-way split. McLaughlin, I think that's how you say his name, looks the best out of that backfield, but it's not saying much. All of them are getting like 8 carries a game, so you can't really trust them. Can't really trust Russ Wilson either to move the ball. Ugh. Other than that, yeah, it's just a shit show at running back. So my favorite running backs, I'll recap on FanDuel. Kenneth Walker, Barkley, Josh Jacobs, Bijan Robinson, Isaiah Pacheco, Jerome Ford I like, Foreman I like, and Gibbs I like. Other than that, fuck everybody else. Wide receiver. Oof. Diggs, out of the top guys, I like Diggs the best. 9K. He's cheaper than Allen. He's cheaper than Kupp. St. Brown, I'm iffy about. I just think it's a bad matchup. I gotta try. I think Baltimore's a tough matchup this year. Throwing the ball. I like Mike Evans. He always kills Atlanta. 7.6K. I like Jacoby Myers for 7.4. He's a little pricier than I expected him to be, but he's been doing really good, so I guess that's why. I'm fading Pittman from the Colts. I don't trust Minshew enough. I love McLaurin, and I love Samuel from the Redskins. I love both those guys. I wouldn't mind stacking both of those guys. Let me get back to this before I finish wide receivers. This is a week where you can stack 2 running backs in the same game. So basically, what I'm looking at here, you could stack Josh Jacobs. He's 8K. You can stack him with the Deonta Foreman because it's going to be a slow, grinded out game. I guarantee you that. Both running backs might get 15 to 20 some carries, So you could stack both of those guys in that low scoring game. And I think both could get a touchdown and over 60 yards easy without a doubt. Trying to find another running back stacking game. Probably you could probably stack Pacheco and Eckler. Kansas City's a little tough on defense, but I think you could stack those two in the same game. Other than that, I don't think there's another one that you could stack both running backs. Mm-hmm. So I'll finish with wide receiver here. I think when we left off, it was McLaurin and Samuel. Okay. Drake London. I've said it 100 times since this live started. Fucking love Drake London. He's cheap on both Draftkings and FanDuel. I like Lockett a lot just because Metcalf might not play, and if he does, he's not going to be 100%. I love Amari Cooper now that Watson's trending towards playing. Marquise Brown I love. Speedster. He's getting so many targets. This is his last 5 games, 11 targets, 10 targets, 10 targets, 7 targets, and 10 targets. And he's been making shit work with those targets for the most part, except for last week. I think he was overthrown a bunch last week, though. Really like Christian Watson, 6.6K. I like him on DraftKings. I think he's only 5.6 on DraftKings. I love him with love. So my 2 favorite quarterbacks are probably the 2 of the cheapest quarterbacks, Drake London and Jordan Love. Sorry, I said Drake London. I messed that up. Desmond Ridder is cheap, and Jordan Love is cheap. I love both those quarterbacks this week on both DraftKings and FanDuel. And on FanDuel, Chris Godwin being 6.5K, playing, he could go off. He's a really good wide receiver. He could go off easily, especially if they double down on Evans. Curtis Samuel, 6.4. I love him. I don't mind Zay Flowers at 6.3. Here's another cheap guy. I talked about him in DraftKings. Wan'Dale Robinson from the Giants. Super cheap. Put him in. He'll save you money. And he could go off. Tyrod Taylor likes throwing it to him. We're going to go to the shit show that is tight ends again. I do like this, though. Andrews and Kelsey are a lot closer in price in this one. So I think on FanDuel you could play Kelsey 8.5. He's going to be an expensive stack if you're stacking him with Mahomes, but we know how they work together. I love Andrews from Baltimore, 6.9K. Love his price. I don't like Laporta because of the matchup. I don't like Waller because of the quarterback. I like Cole Kmet a lot because he's playing with a rookie quarterback. A lot of dump offs there. I think he could get a touchdown, maybe 6 or 7 catches. Kyle Pitts I love against Tampa Bay. He's been eating recently. They're feeding him the ball. Same with Jonnu Smith. Like both tight ends, they could get love in that Atlanta-Tampa Bay game. I wouldn't play both, but you could play one of them. I prefer Pitts this week. Then we go to New England. Hunter Henry, I don't think he's personally going to play. But if he does, he's probably going to be banged up. So you could go Mike Gesicki for really cheap. I know on Draftkings he's 2.6. Let's see what he is on here. He's only 4.7 on FanDuel. Don't like the Chargers tight ends. Sorry. I don't know. Something about that Kansas City defense. Looks really good this year. Really good. Sorry, guys, my voice. All my kids are coughing like crazy, so I've been coughing too. Zach Ertz, I talked about him in the DraftKings section. Don't really trust him. He hasn't done much recently. He's not even getting targeted a lot. Njoku, I kind of like what Watson playing now. Other than Gesicki for 4.7, that's about it for tight ends. I'm going cheap, other than Mark Andrews. Defense, I'll start from the top. The Bills are 5K. That's a lot for a defense, but it's New England. They don't look good on offense. Mac Jones is a turnover machine. I like Seahawks at 4.9. I'm still not going to pay that much, though, for them. I'm probably going to look to go cheaper. I like the Chiefs defense at 4.4K against the Chargers. Love the Browns, 4.5K against Indianapolis and Gardner Minshew. Love the Steelers against the Rams, 4.2K. Steelers are probably, I think they have the most turnovers and the most sacks on defense. Love the Ravens against Detroit. I know Detroit's been balling, but it's in Baltimore. Ruckus crowd. I like that Ravens D for 4.1K. I don't like Tampa Bay. Normally I do, but I think Atlanta is the real deal. You could go Packers D against Denver because Denver, they look like shit. Let's be honest. Not touching the Bears, even against a backup. I just don't trust that Bears defense. They give up a lot of points to a lot of mediocre quarterbacks. The Broncos, I think, put up a bunch of fucking points on them. Yeah, let's see. They gave up 25 points to the Broncos. Okay. Don't trust that, the Bears defense. I think that's it for defense. Not a lot of good defensive plays. I guess you could put Indianapolis against Watson in case he just forces it and actually looks injured. Maybe. We'll see. That's it. I was hoping some more people would hop on so I could answer some questions. Let me just check the chat because I don't think there is anything. So hopefully somebody watches this before the games tomorrow. I can help them out a little bit, but we'll see. Yeah, I don't see anybody else, so I'm probably just going to end this live stream. All right. Oh, yeah, I'm still wearing my Eagles hat. We got destroyed by the Jets. It's okay. It happens. There's always a letdown game. We'll be back next week. All right. Anyways, this concludes the Pita Joe podcast. Fantasy football daily live. I'm going to try to do this weekly, probably every Saturday night, maybe Saturday day. We'll see. Maybe early Sunday morning. I work Sundays, but we'll see. If I can get it in before I go to work, I will. I might even hop on in the morning just to answer some start-sit questions. So we'll see. All right. Have a good night. Be safe if you're drinking and driving. Well, don't drink and drive, I should say. If you're drinking, be safe. Grab an Uber. Don't be stupid. Yeah, I know there's a lot of Halloween parties going on, so don't be stupid. Don't even think about yourself, but think about other people on the road. Okay, don't be stupid. Call an Uber. Don't be a cheap wad. All right. Good night.